snoring. Rain stay pouring all over the court. Check, trade scoring, a rational activist. Others remain dormant, factual passages. Able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back. Sun is fall forward. See the big picture. Don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources, your three inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords. Linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Reserving and the militant behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that are used are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. Remember words that I breathe on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mach speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with peace in the light. Check the blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, split, check, Bethlehem officials.
Yo, what is up, people? What is going on? Welcome back to episode 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived. I'm here with Jared, right? Am I saying your name right? Jared,
yep,
right?
You're saying it right. Jared is the way to say it.
Just making sure. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Glad to be talking about this show again.
Yeah, I know we've been trying to do this for a minute. Things came up, but we're doing it today. Even today, I was like, I don't know if I could do it because, as you see, I don't have my headphones. I actually left them at work, but I'm like, you know what? I wanted to talk about this episode before the next episode because I didn't want to do 2 at a time. So, let's just talk about this episode and see what you think, man. So, first off, we'll get into our overall thoughts. What are your overall thoughts of this episode?
My overall thoughts would be that I think that this show has nowhere to go but up. Like it's, I thought the first episode was good, and then this one just blew me away even more. The fact that it got to the point where Rick and Michonne met back up, but then it kept going. I expected it to not keep going, and just like that was where it ended. So to get a little bit more of that was, I mean, I don't know. And the new characters, especially Nat, that good stuff all around. Those are my overall thoughts. I have way more to say, but just as a Cliff Note version, that's what I would say.
Oh, we'll definitely get into all of that for sure. I'm right there with you. And when we did the ratings for the first one, I was like, maybe I shouldn't go too high because I'm pretty sure it's going to get better. And I was right there with you. I thought this episode was really good. So we have 2 great episodes of The Walking Dead, and I hope it continues to go on. Just going to read the synopsis of episode 2, which was called Gone. It's 6 years after Rick's supposed death. Michonne helps Aiden and Bailey reunite with their massive caravan, but refuses to join it out of disgust over the caravan's rule and her determination to find Rick and go back to their children. Aiden, Bailey, and their friend Nat outfit Michonne for her journey and later come to her aid against the massive horde. Having been inspired by Michonne to break away along with dozens other, the group agrees to help Michonne in her search, but the CRM attacks with chlorine gas, killing everyone except Michonne and Nat, who are forced to spend at least a year recovering from the damage done to their lungs and throat. Pressing on to the location mentioned in the boat's logbook, Michonne and Nat find an abandoned and destroyed safe zone with dozens of bodies. Nat convinces Michonne to return to Alexandria, but to keep faith that Rick is still alive. On the way back, the 2 spot a CRM helicopter and attacked it using Nat's explosive in retaliation for the death of their friends, only for Michonne to be reunited with Rick. Nat is killed by a surviving CRM soldier, who Rick then kills. As soldiers close in, Rick helps Michonne create a successful cover story for the CRM, promising that they will escape together. However, Rick is confronted by Jadis, who had recognized Michonne and threatens him if they try to escape, while Michonne's desire to take down the CRM despite Rick's warning that they will never get home if they try to. So that was basically the synopsis of the episode. And we'll get into our likes. I want to hear what were your likes or your positives of this episode?
Oh gosh, there were a lot. My biggest like is that I've talked to a couple people about this already, about the episode, um, like in my private life, but um, seeing Michonne, like the actress that plays her, I feel like she knocked it out of the fucking park. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, the scene where she's holding Rick's boots and she's sobbing, and the scene where she finds Rick and she's like, "I found you, I found you." Like, she can give him a run for his money as far as how good of an actress she is.
I agree.
Um, and I really liked her relationship with the new people that she met.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I liked, because it was sort of like a callback to the old Walking Dead in a way, where they found each other and Rick was instantly panicked. Like, he almost looked like he was panicking in the way that Negan made him panic. He's like, don't tell him your name, don't call them walkers, don't do this, don't do that. Like, he just seemed like he was in a state that we haven't seen him in a long time. And so I just think that the really strong acting on this show is those are my highlights.
I agree with you 100%. I even enjoyed the new characters, right? So they had that black guy. That guy has started off doing like little comedy videos on YouTube and TikTok, right? Now he's doing movies. I can't remember his name, but whatever. He did a good job. You know what I mean? Usually, whenever he's in something, it's comedic and he's trying to be silly. Like he was in um it was the Marlon Wayans movie, the Meet the Blacks too, and it was comedic and stuff like that, right? But this he had a little bit more of a serious role, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. Um, his girl that was pregnant, I think she did an amazing job too. And I think the standout of the characters was Nat 100%. I really enjoyed his character. And to be honest with you, when he died, I was like, fuck. I knew it, right? I knew they were all going to die. I said, they're all going to die. And then when he passed away, when he died, I was like, oh man, I knew he was gonna die. But he was one of those characters I thought that maybe he'll get to the CRM with Michonne and help them escape. You know what I mean? Um, one thing I really did enjoy about this episode is when they saw the helicopter, I was like, oh, it was them that took down the helicopter. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know it was them. I just thought maybe they got into some kind of line of fire or something. But just the fact that it was Michonne and Nat that did it, I was like, okay, that was cool. You know, and then like you said, that meetup, when they first meet up, I was posting on Twitter. I was like, "Oh man, this show's fire!" And someone's like, "Did you tear up when they met up?" And I was like, "I almost did, to be honest with you."
I did. I 100% did.
The acting was good. It was really good in that moment where she takes off his helmet and she sees it's Rick. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is Walking Dead. You know, and I know a lot of people have fallen off on the show, but I think they should go back and watch this because it's just these two episodes alone were absolutely, I think, great writing. Let me just put it that way. I'm not going to give it a masterpiece or anything like that because I think people use that word way too much. But I thought,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I think that this is one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead that we've gotten in a long time.
I can agree with that.
And not only them meeting each other again and all that stuff, but like that scene where she is using his scream sticks or whatever he calls them, and there's that huge herd. Like, that was a really cool scene. I mean, I feel like this episode just brings us back to what The Walking Dead is supposed to be. And then I don't know if you caught this. I didn't catch it the first time. I had to rewatch it. When she was on the walkie-talkie and she was trying to contact Judith, she kept saying Shoto, Shoto, Shoto. And that's Japanese for small sword, which is her code name that she gave her when she left the actual show. And I couldn't remember why she was calling her Shoto, so I went back and watched it. But like, just it's bringing everything back together.
100%. And there's just some scenes with her where I was like, okay, like I really thought like you that it was going to end where the last episode ended
Mhm.
with them meeting up, and then it was going to end, and then we'd get the episode. I was pleasantly surprised that it continued on after they met. And I was like, okay, this is what I think we and all the fans have been waiting for, right? To see them reunited. And they didn't just end it with them being reunited. They actually showed what happens or where they're going. Now we get to find out what's going to happen with them. Um, when Jadis, when she shows up at the end, I was like, okay, there's something behind this now, something behind her and Rick, because she said something like they were supposed to kill Rick or something like that, and she brought him there and they saved him, whatever. So her and Rick have some kind of backstory or plan or that they're trying to do there. So that's going to be interesting to find out. We already know that Michonne is going to she wants to destroy the serum. She doesn't just want, and I can understand why, right? Because she built up a connection with that caravan group that left with her, right? She
Mhm.
really, like, she at first she didn't want nothing to do with them. They helped her. She had a conversation with them. They were laughing and joking. And when they just killed them all, that shit was crazy. Not to mention that the woman was pregnant, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna kill the pregnant lady? Really? Damn!" They went all
That's
out on this episode, you know?
that's pretty ballsy because most of the you don't most of the time shows don't kill kids or they don't kill pregnant people. Um, but they those people definitely affected her life because when um, they down that helicopter, she's not only killing those people, she's taking off their
Yeah,
masks and slitting their throats.
yeah.
Like she's like, "Look at
Look at.
me."
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say enough about how well acted it was.
I agree with you. Well written too, as well, right? Because I know a lot of people talk
Hmm.
about, but just the moments where they're by the fire and they're having that conversation, and Michonne's like, "You're pregnant, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we were living in this community for so long, and we were just letting people die. We were just leaving them behind. We didn't feel right about that." And it's like, when you came, you changed us. You decided, and not like his first appearance where he first comes in and he's just screaming at the lady in charge because he thought
Hmm.
that his two friends were dead. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, he had an impact in the story right away. Usually there's some characters where just you're not feeling them, or it's like, they were nothing burgers. But these characters actually made it to where you know it's driving what Michonne is gonna have to do going forward. And I like that. They weren't just there to be there. They were actually there to progress the story, right? Because if you watched on Walking Dead, Michonne and they don't really know much about the CRM. But now
No.
Michonne knows that they're murderous. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
they just killing people, whatever. So she has a little animosity towards them. And I'm digging it. I am definitely digging it. So
Yeah.
anything else? Go ahead.
Well, another thing that I really liked, and I won't say that it was my favorite part, but that scene where she's like, "Well, who else do you like?" And he's talking about his mom, and then he starts talking about his stepdad, Danger, and then
Mhm.
she gets the lighter at the lighter that he's constantly playing with the whole episode. Um, it's got Danger's name on it, and I thought that was a pretty cool moment. Um, I thought it kind of brought everything home because when he was talking about his stepdad, at first I thought he was going to talk about like how his stepdad beat the shit out of
Mhm.
him and was
Mhm.
abusive, but then he's like, no, he was like my favorite person in the whole world. Um,
And that story was so good because he was like, my stepdad was, I needed to make this and I needed to make that. And he
mhm,
was like, was it really that my stepdad couldn't do it? Or was he actually trying to get me to stop burning things? Because
mhm,
he liked to burn things. Pyromaniac, they call it. Yeah, he liked to burn things, right? And that's what he talked about a lot. And when he had a stepfather, his stepfather put him into doing other things. That's why he was so good at building things. Like, he was building everything. He built her Michonne a suit that would, and when she got bit, I was like, oh shit. And I was like, okay, she got that suit on. It's pretty sure it's able to handle the bites, right? Because they made it. So it's like that's good. I like that. He was really a good character. I was actually sad to see that he died, to be honest with you. He was one of them us. And just to see that they I knew they were gonna die. I just didn't know how they were gonna die. And it just goes to show how ruthless this CRM is. So I have a feeling that Rick is gonna have to confront John, right? I think John is
He's
the
got,
leader. Yes, 100%. So there's going to be something with him. I think Michonne might have an issue with that girl that was, telling Rick in the last episode, oh, I could have killed you if I wanted to. I
mhm.
think they're going to have a little issue. I think she may turn around towards the end, but I think she's going to cause a little bit of problems for at least a couple episodes. So
I wouldn't be totally shocked if Rick doesn't haul off and kill Jadis in some way.
right.
I kind of hope that he does. Honestly, um, I want to see Rick back in action, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel like that final scene was her trying to put him in his place, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Rick fire back, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
And I honestly believe that Rick will fire back for sure, 100%. Because Jadis, like Rick, pretty much saved her. You know what I mean? Like when she was they could have Negan could have killed them. Rick didn't do it. They let her live, and then she ended up turning on him. Right. So I think Rick is definitely gonna have either some get back, or maybe she's kind of trying to change the CRM too and using Rick for that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I love the pace of the show because we only got like what 6 episodes, right?
Hmm.
And they're pacing it very well. So I really enjoy that. And I think that with it being just 7 episodes or 6 episodes, I think that they can really get a lot of stuff in there and hopefully, people like it and want to see more, right? But I know Rick's not really into doing the Walking Dead show anymore, but we'll see. Maybe a
Uh, uh,
movie. Like, go
yeah.
ahead.
Another thing that I thought about after the fact, because I watched the episode a couple different times because I wanted to know what I was talking about when we come on here, but um, when they were getting closer back, like they had decided to go, like Nat and Michonne had decided to go back to Alexandria, um, and then the helicopter comes, but she gets back on the walkie-talkie,
Mm-hmm,
and he says, "Oh, it'll be another day or two before we're in range or whatever."
mm-hmm,
But at that point in time, that lines up with the timeline of The Walking Dead, like the Walking Dead actual show, where Judith was not even in Alexandria anymore. She was with the Commonwealth with Daryl.
mm-hmm.
So it's like even if she was in range to Alexandria, she wouldn't have been in range to where Judith could have hurt her anyway.
Right. Yeah. And again, I think they're doing a good job with the timeline too. To be honest with you, until reading it, I didn't realize that they were getting their lungs back together for a year. It took them a full year, and they were struggling. You guys that missed it or haven't seen it, they were struggling after that bomb went off. Man, they almost died. Um,
There's
Everybody has died. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's a passage of time that happens where they're in that shopping complex that they're recovering in, and they have the oxygen masks and everything like that. But there's like a window above them, and it shows like leaves, and then it
Yeah,
shows
right.
snow, and then it
Yeah,
shows leaves again. So it's
yeah,
like they were in there for close to a year, if not a full year.
yeah.
Um,
That is correct. I forgot about that part. Yeah, so it's crazy that even when she decided to give up, she was like, "Okay, you're right. I'm going back." And she's like you said, that scene where she's crying and she's hugging the boots, and she doesn't want to give up, but she knows she got to get back to Judith and the rest of her people, and she decides at that moment she's gonna do it. Her acting was amazing in that scene. Like I was like, "Yo, she is killing it right now," you know, and her actually deciding to go back is what made her bump into Rick. So again, it all adds up to kind of coincidence, but at the same time, you could see something like that happen. I thought it was amazingly done, really did. So what ends up happening is after they meet, like you said, Rick is like, you can't tell them, you can't say walkers, because that's what I say. You can't tell them about Alexandria or any place that we go to, and we're gonna go back to the sanctuary, go back to the CRM. I think, to me, when I first watched it, I was like, wait a minute. Why the hell are you going back? You guys can run, get out of there, go. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought they were going to do. So when they went back, I was like, oh, I didn't like it. So let me see where it's going, but I didn't like it until they met up with um Jadis, right? When Rick was talking to her, then I understood, okay, Rick is doing this because she promised not to tell the CRM about Alexandria or all the other groups that they have because they don't know about them. So I was like, okay, so it makes sense as to why Rick and Michonne didn't try to run at that point. They would have been hunted down, and you can't do if they do that, you can't do that in 6 episodes. You have to have a full season where the CRM is battling Hilltop, Alexandria, and all the communities out there, right? So at that point, I was like, okay, I kind of understand why they didn't go that way and they had to go back. So now I'm like, are they going to destroy the CRM from the inside, or are they just going to try and escape? I think they're going to try and do both. I kind of have a feeling like when it was the Commonwealth, how they ended that one, kind of have a feeling they're going to try and do that here. I just don't think they're going to succeed. CRM is way too big. It's way bigger than the Commonwealth. Did you have any negatives?
No, I don't. Honestly, I really didn't have any negatives. I'm all I have is positives, but I mean, one thing that we didn't touch on that was a positive, that was not a dislike, was like, so he said, don't call them walkers, I call them that or whatever. But he also said, don't show them who you are. Don't show them that you're a leader.
Yeah.
And then when she did that interview and she's like, I'm Dana and I'm this and I'm like, it reminded me of
Carol.
when they first got to Alexandria, it reminded me of Carol, how she was trying to blend in like a little housewife. So little callbacks like that, I really enjoyed. But as far as dislikes, there's nothing to dislike about this episode other than Nat dying.
And absolutely, because even when Jadis went to go and speak to Rick, she was like, oh, Rick alone, but Rick and Michonne together? He was like, that's dangerous. And I was like, okay, I see where you're going there with that, right? They're an unstoppable force apart. Well, they're unstoppable apart, but when they're together, they're pretty much unbeatable. And that's going to be an interesting take. It's really going to be interesting. Maybe they decide, to take over the Commonwealth CRM and try and, because the black guy that died in the last episode, he wants to change them, right? He doesn't want to destroy the CRM. He wants to change them, maybe get better policies or whatever they're doing in the CRM. He wants to change that. So maybe Rick and Michonne are going to decide maybe we should try and change it instead of trying to destroy it, right? Because it's kind of corrupted when they're just going around killing other people and killing innocent people like that. But at the same time, it's like, how do you stop them? Because when Michonne went up to that level and she looked like into the beyond, and all you seen was army tanks and army gear and war and soldiers, like that is going to be crazy to beat, So it's going to be interesting to see whether they try to fight them or they just try to get away. But again, if they try to get away, nobody escapes the CRM. No one gets away. So they're going to be hunted. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, I would like to see them overthrow them somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's like similar to the Commonwealth. Like they didn't kill the Commonwealth. They took it over and they changed it, and made it better.
Right.
So I would like to see that trend continue, but how they're going to go about doing that, I don't know.
And you see, I agree with you. The only thing is it gets repetitive if you do that again, right? Like you
Yeah,
already did with the Commonwealth, and then now you're gonna have Rick and Michonne do it with the CRM. Kind of gets competitive. So I think they might try to go a different route. Maybe it's gonna end up being a spin-off, right? Because they've been spinning off Walking Dead. Some of it has worked. I think some of it hasn't worked. I don't think World Beyond kind of worked that well. It was okay, but it wasn't great. But Daryl was good, but you know, Dead City and this were the top tier right now. So maybe they're gonna try and spin it off into something else. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I hope we still get more Walking Dead. Like I love this show. I've loved this series. I love Fear the Walking Dead. So I hope we get more of this. And I can't wait for the episode tomorrow night.
Oh, I can't either. Another thing, and this is just speculation, but some people are thinking that Michonne, when she was captured and she was giving her story, and they're like, "Well, what have you been using to fight with?" And she said that she had a bow staff, but she lost it. Some people
Mhm.
are thinking that that's like a Morgan, like Morgan's
Mhm.
going to show up.
I To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if Morgan does show up, right? Because like I said, when we watched the end of the Fear of Walking Dead, when he left there, he was going there to find Rick, right?
Hmm.
So it's a possibility. Like I have a feeling, and maybe not with Daryl because Daryl's like in Paris, you know what I mean? But I have
Hmm.
a feeling there's going to be some sort of meetup with not just, it's going to be Rick, Michonne, I think um M- Morgan is going to be there, Carol's going to be there, right? And maybe at that point it's like, oh, well, where's Daryl? And then that's where that scene that Carol is looking for Daryl comes
Hmm.
up after that in the timeline or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see that. What's your grade for this episode?
I hate to do it so early in the season, but I have to give this an A. It deserves nothing less than an A.
I'm right there with you. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it an A plus, and if there's another episode plus, I'm just gonna give it an A plus plus or whatever. But I'm definitely giving it an A plus. Like I like it's not just you watch shows, oh, the action is great, but the dialogue, the new characters, right? There's nothing that I can really complain about. If there was maybe a character I didn't like, I'd be like, I didn't really feel that character too much, so let's just get rid of this and give it an A or something like that. But nothing brings it down for me. Like there's nothing in this episode that has me saying, I could have did without that. So yeah, I'm gonna give
It,
it an A plus, and I hope I
it
can
was
give all the rest of the episodes A plus. Go ahead.
um, I was just gonna say it was solid acting on Andrew Lincoln and Denai's performances. It was solidly written, um, and this is what The Walking Dead used to be. Like it reminded me of how how
Mhm,
strong it used to be because it I never stopped watching it, but it did fall off for a little while where it wasn't as good.
mhm.
Um, but this to me it felt like home. It felt like we're just back to normal.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and I'm right there with you too. I never stopped watching it, but at the same time, I was at the point where I was like, "Oh, this episode wasn't that good." You know what I mean? Like you had a couple weeks where it was just like, "Okay, can we get back to what we were? Where the cliffhanger was." So I think it took a while to do stuff like that. So I can understand where it dragged on a bit and kind of people fell off of it, but Dead City and now this show should be bringing people back, should be bringing people back into the fold to where it's like, you know what? Yo, they doing a good job so far. The writing and everything has been good. So I hope they do. I really do. And I hope we get more Walking Dead.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like this show has so far at least I hope it continues, but it has rewarded the people that have stuck around.
mhm,
Like
100%. 100%. And I have stuck around and I will stick around. You know what I mean? Maybe there'll be an episode where I don't feel as strongly about, maybe not, but I'm just hoping that we get a solid end to this story. And if not, give me another season. Give us a Walking Dead movie, like, right, where they tie everything in together. If that's the way they want to close it out with a movie Doesn't have to be on in theaters, could be in Netflix or a streaming service. I don't care, but just give us a movie where, you know, probably ends with everybody meeting back up or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I would be definitely interested in. But we do have 21 people in here watching. Thank you guys for popping in. Much appreciated. We will be back next week with another episode 3 of The Walking Dead. Jared, thank you for popping in as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. This stream will probably end up going to the Chaos Central channel after it's off of my channel. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching, and make sure to check us out next week. Any last words, Jared?
Just hope it keeps going. Hope it keeps doing well. And we'll be back at it next week for another one.
Absolutely. And next up at 9 o'clock, we will be doing a ranking. So make sure you guys are there to check that one out as well. Peace, love, and hair grease. See you on the next one.
Brainstorming, brains stay pouring all over the court. Check the trade scoring, irrational activists. Others remain dormant, factual passages. Able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back. So let's fall forward. See the big picture. Don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources, your 3 inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords. Linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Reserving animalistic behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that I use are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. Remember words that I breathed on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mock speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with peace in the light. Check the blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, script, check, Bethlehem officials.